Good morning. Hopefully everybody's having a good Saturday. Thank you for joining our weekly class. We have a weekly class on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern and Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're really excited about today because Wednesday we kicked off with a really, the class turned out to be really good. We had a lot of great questions asked, and so we want to piggyback off of what we did, what we started on Wednesday, and we're going to try to continue on with that lesson. So, as always, my name is Kevin. I am the moderator, and I'm going to pass it over to Leonard, who is the host, and we're going to start the lesson for today. Now, just some quick notes. Two things. One, if you have any questions, during the week and you would like them answered, you can come on the line before we start recording, and you can ask whatever questions you would like. And after the recording has stopped, you can also, we stay on the line, and you can, we'll have Q&A where you can ask whatever questions you'd like. So I'm going to pass it over to Leonard, and we'll talk later. All right.
Shalom, everybody. The last class that we had was dealing with, we closed out dealing with the events that happened in the garden with the serpent, Adam and Eve, and what became of that, and the lineages that came out of that, out of Genesis 1 and 2 and 3. So what I had wanted to pick up on was we know that the serpent had cohabitated with Eve, and so we was trying to get we got around to the fact that, which is just probably shocking to a lot of people, they never heard it before, but I want to go back to where it happened at in Genesis chapter 3. And I'm going to read it again. It says, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made, and said unto the woman, Yea, have God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, You may eat of the fruit trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. So what Eve doing right here is, she's when you understand what happened, Eve is quoting what Adam told her, and Adam told her what the Most High told him. So it wasn't like they was all standing there together, and they received these instructions from the Most High, because Eve wasn't there when the Most High first put Adam in the garden. Adam was by himself. Then we know that later on, according to the story, he put Adam to sleep, and then he brought Eve. He took a rib out of Adam's side and made Eve. So Adam had already he was already in the garden. He already had his instructions on how to maintain the garden. So when he brought the woman to Adam, Adam in turn gave her the instructions that the Most High gave her. And that's what she's quoting right there in chapter 3, 1 through 4. Yeah. And so then, so moving forward, so when you move forward, you come to find out that in chapter 10, verse 10, it says, and I heard the voice of the Lord God, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee? See, he told Adam that. It's singular. Thee, I told thee that thou shouldst not eat. So we see right here that he told Adam when it was two of them in the garden. Then Adam told Eve later. He said, and the man said, the woman whom thou gavest unto me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. So that he's telling you right here, when the Most High commanded him in verse 11, he turned around and told her, and she disobeyed him, which in return caused both of them to be in error. And the Lord God said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. So we see the sequence of events how it all happened with the proper understanding. Yeah. So do you understand that? Everybody understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was gonna close out on that because I was trying to, I was making sure that everybody see, based on the conversation in the previous video, how did we come to that conclusion that it was serpent cohabitated with Eve. And once you break these verses down, you see that it's plain what happened. So what I was doing was the topic of this discussion was there was a breakdown of Genesis chapter 6 and how the New Testament tie into it to the Book of Enoch, and how Jesus Christ was associated with the Book of Enoch. So what I wanted to start out with was to give you a little background on Enoch. And we know that Enoch is in Genesis chapter 5, verse 23 and 24 is, it got two verses about Enoch. But when you start reading the Book of Enoch, you see the significance and the importance of Enoch. But they downplay it in the Bible by giving you a couple of verses, and then they move on. And so what I'm gonna do is read those three verses. 21 says, and Enoch lived 65 years and begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begot Methuselah 300 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. So my thing is, why did God take Enoch? And so it's Enoch was righteous. He had never sinned. He did never sin. He did all what was told him, and all what the Most High had for him to do. And it says, so that's the reason he took him. But he took him up to heaven, and he showed him all how heaven operates. See, and Yahweh with the 7 angels explained to Enoch what happened in the world from his time until the end of the world, and what would happen with his descendants and with the earth from that time forward. So Enoch had all the information. It was shown to him in visions and dreams of all that's going to befall mankind and all that was going to happen to the earth until the end. So when you understand that, he don't need nobody to come later to tell us something what's going to happen, because Enoch told us all that was going to happen. And so when you understand that, that's the reason the Book of Enoch was not put in the Bible when they started so-called canonizing the books. It was mandatory that they didn't put the Book of Enoch in there so that you wouldn't see what was really going on. And so let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. If you go to Malachi, chapter 4. Okay, I'm in Malachi chapter 4, verse. I'm gonna read verse 1 and come up to the verse I'm going to, which is verse 2. It says, "For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, all that do wickedly shall be stubble, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves in the stall. So my question is right here is that what any Hebrew should be asking is, who is the Son of Righteousness that shall arise? Well, we just found out that Enoch, the reason why the Most High took Enoch up was that he was so righteous. So, you know, and so then when you say, well, what are you talking about? Let's go to the Book of Enoch, chapter 71 of the Book of Enoch. And it says, chapter 71, verses 23, says, I'm going to read 22. And the angel who talked with me came to me and greeted me, Enoch being me, with his voice, and said unto me, this is the Son of Man who was born under righteousness, and righteousness abide over him. And the righteousness of the head of days forsake him not. So we see right here that Enoch is the son of righteousness. And that righteousness abides on Enoch. That's the reason he was taken up. So you say, what are you talking about? Well, they didn't took what the Most High set in place, and they didn't put it over in the New Testament, and they put it on Jesus the Christ. You got you thinking that he's the righteous one, but Enoch is the righteous one. And these verses right here show you that. So, and also we tell you that Jesus is the Son of Man, but the angel tells you right here in 23 that he said that Enoch is the Son of Man. So what I want to do is to put this in context. I want to go back to verse 1 of chapter 71, and I'm going to read up to that so you will see it beyond the shadow of a doubt. It says, and it came to pass after this that my spirit was translated and I ascended into heaven. This is what we read in Genesis, where Enoch was taken up. It said, and I saw the holy sons of God stepping on the flames of fire. Their garments were white, and their raiment and their faces shone like snow. And I saw two streams of fire, and the light of the fire shone like and I fell on my face before the Lord of spirits. And the angel Michael, one of the angels, seized me by my right hand and lifted me up and led me forth into all secrets. And he showed me all the secrets of righteousness, and he showed me all the secrets of the ends of heaven. So we see right here, we don't need nobody to come show us nothing. He showed it all to Enoch. And Enoch wrote it down. It says, and he showed me all the chambers and all the stars and all the luminaries which they perceived before the face of the Holy One. And he translated my spirit into the heaven of heavens. And I saw there, as it were, a structure built of crystal. And between those crystals, tongues of living fire. And my spirit saw the girdle which encircled the house of fire. And on its four sides were streams full of living fire, and they were bound to that house. And round about were cherubim, Ophium, and these are they who sleep not, and guard the throne of his glory. And I saw angels who could not be counted, even 1,000 and thousands, and 10,000 times 10,000, encircling that house. And Michael, and Raphael, and Gabriel, and Phenom, and the holy angels who are above the heavens go in and out of that house. And they came forth from the house, and Michael, and Gabriel, and Raphael, and Phenom, and many holy angels without number. And with them the head of days, his head white and pure as wool, and his raiment indescribable. And I fell on my face, and my whole body became relaxed, and my spirit was transfigured. I cried with a loud voice with the spirit of power, and blessed and glorified and extolled him. And these blessings which went forth out of my mouth were well pleasing before the head of days. And that head of days came with Michael and Gabriel and Raphael and Phinehas and the thousands and 10,000s of angels without number. And the angel who talked with me came. I'm back where I was at. And the angel who talked with me came to me and greeted me with his voice and said unto me, this is the Son of Man. So can't be JC, who is born under righteousness. And righteousness abide over him. And righteousness of the head of days forsake him not. So that kills that other concept that they gave us right here. So we see that Enoch is the son of righteousness, and that righteousness abides with him. And the reason being is that he kept the law all his life, and he lived righteous and upright, and that's why the Most High came and took him. So you see that?
Can you give a page number for the Book of Enoch?
I don't think it's gonna match with what the book I got, but it's yours is probably this is what I'm talking about right here, but yours probably 70.
I mean, what are the Roman numerals? Is yours in Roman numerals?
No, it's not. That's why I'm trying to consolidate the books. But yours it would be
the Roman numeral is LXX1.
LXX1.
71.
Okay.
But hers is probably gonna be 70. What's yours?
Yeah, mine is the same as yours. But yeah, yours might be either 70 or 72. It might be one up or one behind.
Oh, I got my book here. Let me see.
Yeah. That other book's a little bit off.
So my LXX1 starts with the Book of the Revelations of the Luminaries of Heaven.
No, see, okay, so you go up one. That's 72 in ours. So go up one, and you'll be on the right one.
Okay, let's see. So LXX.
What does it say in verse 1?
Afterwards, my spirit was concealed, ascending into the heavens.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
Okay.
So go to 23, 22 and 23. Says
22.
Mine drops off at 17.
It probably continues on in the next chapter.
Okay, the next chapter after.
No, I was saying Wesley. He just said his drops off at 17. I said it probably continues on in the next chapter.
Yeah, I'm just having a problem remembering my Roman numerals. That's what.
Don't feel bad. You're not the only one. Wesley's a scholar. That's why he knows them off the top.
Yeah, L is 50. X is 10.
Right.
Okay, L is 50. X is 10. Okay. And then V is 5, right?
Right.
Correct.
You're trying to get 4 is always going to be a 1 in front of the 5. And you're trying to get 9 is going to be a X, and the 1 going to be in front of the X.
Okay. All right. So chapter LXX, that's 70, right?
Right.
Yes.
So afterwards, my spirit was concealed, ascending. I was trying to find a place where you were reading about where he saw David and Michael.
David.
I thought, well, maybe I didn't hear right. Carry on. I'll catch up.
Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Phinehas.
Okay. Yeah.
That's where he was at. That started at around verse 15, but he ended at 23. So you can read from 1 through 23 is where he ended. But what you're talking about starts around 15.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, look at chapter 7. Or Enoch.
Okay, I'm just going to listen. You guys carry on. Because I need a little off the study line practice with how to follow this book. But you guys carry on.
Right. So I'm in chapter 7 of Book of Enoch. And so what I'm going there because we told we come up in the church and Catholic Church and in the church they tell us that in the beginning the reason why none of the prophets and none of our patriarchs knew nothing about Jesus was because he was concealed. He was hidden in the bosom of God, and he was revealed later to the apostles and all them in the New Testament. So what I'm showing you right here is that where they got it from. Let me read it.
Which one?
Concealed.
It's not 7.
Yeah, chapter 12. Let me read it. Chapter 12 says, before these things Enoch was hidden. No one of the children of men knew where he was hidden and where he abode and what had become of him. And his activities had to do with the watchers, and his days were with the holy ones. So Enoch was hidden. This is where they get it from. That's why it was impossible to put this book in the Bible because it's going to contradict what the New Testament was saying. You see. And so, and he also, Jesus came speaking in parables. And so if you go to Enoch chapter 67, I'm going to read it.
Are you talking about the wolves?
No, parables.
Just bear with us 1 second.
While you guys are looking for that, when Leonard, when you say that Enoch was hidden, and they attributed that hiddenness or that concealedness to Jesus, one of the things that they used to tell us in seminary is that some of us would ask the question, why isn't Jesus' name mentioned in the Old Testament? Because, God would definitely have known if there was going to be a Jesus coming. So why, and they would say to us that there are types of Jesuses in the Old Testament. They were referring to him, but they never mentioned his name. And so does that relate to what you're saying, how they're saying that Jesus was concealed until he came down through 42 generations in David's lineage, and then he showed up as Jesus. Does that go along with that?
Yeah, well, what you have to understand is it's a book out there that it's called 16 Crucified Saviors, right? And so you say, well, what do you mean? Jesus was crucified, so but he's the 17th. The 16 came before him. You got examples of that is you had Krishna, the Indian god. He was born of a virgin, and he was crucified for the world. Then you had the one that came right before Jesus was Mithras. That was a Babylonian god that was in Babylon when they was in captivity in Babylon. Mithras, he was born in the rock, lived in the cave. Then you got Hercules, and you had and so the Most High is continuously talking about worship, the Israelites worshiping the gods of the other nations, the heathens, and so it's a process when you're making a god, and the process is they had when you all these crucified saviors had they were 12 years old. They taught in the temple, or whatever religion it was. They taught in the temple. They turned water into wine. You know, they were born of a virgin. So in order to make a god, to make an idol that the Most High talking about, they had to lay these characteristics on them. So Jesus wasn't in there. I'm showing you that Enoch was there, and I showed you in the videos on the channel that David is the Messiah. And so that's what's in the Old Testament. He's not there. So at the Council of Nicaea, when they created Jesus through this process right here, he's the 17th crucified Savior, and they laid all these characteristics on him. Because none of these characteristics, you don't see them in the Old Testament. Nobody turning no water into wine, none of that. That's paganism. So at the Council of Nicaea, they went back in the Old Testament and seen where it was already a Messiah there. It was already a Redeemer there. And so through typology, they just placed him there and removed the actual Messiah that was there. They just removed him, denigrated him. That's what Psalms 83 tell you. They took Israel out and caused Israel and his Messiah and his Redeemer not to be of none effect by placing him there.
Okay, can I ask, and what is your understanding of why? What is your understanding of why they brought Jesus in?
If you go back and you get and understand that's why it's the utmost importance that you go back. Somebody that's waking up, find out they're Hebrew. You know, you can't have a wake up and find out that you're Hebrew, but your mind and your actions is Greek or Roman or European. You have to go. If you wake up and you're a Hebrew, you got to start acting and functioning like a Hebrew, like our forefathers did.
Okay, so why did the Greeks and all of these people who brought in these different crucified deities, why did they not want the Hebrew people to continue thinking like a Hebrew or functioning like a Hebrew?
So we talked about in the previous video that it's an order in place. That it's a Lord. You got Yahweh. He's the Lord that's in heaven. He created 7 angels, and in turn, those 7 angels, the first one he created was Michael, the archangel, and Michael was in charge of those other 6. So when you go to the garden and you see that somebody came in the cool of the day to talk to Adam, well, you come to find out with the proper understanding that that's not Yahweh. And you see that
and it's not Jesus.
It's not Jesus. And then you got to see that somebody walked with Noah. and then you get to Daniel, and I mean you get to the story when Moses and it was Aaron and Miriam was talking against Moses, and Yahweh himself came down and told Moses and Aaron, told Aaron and Miriam that only Moses have I talked to face. Everybody else I dealt with is in dreams and visions. Only Moses I talked to face. And so when you go back and start looking at everything, even what we're dealing with right now in the Book of Enoch. Those were dreams and visions that Enoch had. When David received the blueprint on how to build the temple that he gave to Solomon, David received that in a dream. The prophets.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You mentioned that someone came down and walked with Adam and Eve in the cool of the day.
Right. Right.
How do we know who that was?
So you go to back to Mount Sinai. First of all, only Yahweh came down twice in the Bible. He came in Ezekiel chapter 1. He came down in Ezekiel chapter 1 with the when you go to Ezekiel chapter 1, it says that Ezekiel chapter 1 verses I'm start at verse 1. If you go to Ezekiel chapter 1.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So it says that, I'm going to start at 1. Now it came to pass in the 13th year of the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river Kabar, that the heavens opened, and I saw the visions of God. See that? Now even right here, he having visions. He's not dealing with him de facto in person. You come to find out that it's all dreams and visions. But on Mount Sinai, he came and talked to Moses face to face. So that lets you know somebody else is dealing with, that came in the cool of the day, that walk with Enoch, and that walk with all these prophets, because they having dreams and visions. So anyway, so when you get to verse 4, it says, and I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, a fire enfolding itself, and brightness was about it. And out of the midst thereof was the color of amber. And out of the midst of the fire, also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. And they had the likeness of a man. We know the story. So you go all the way over to verse 24. It says, and when they went, I heard the noise of their wings like the noise of great waters, as the voice of the Almighty, a voice of speech, and the noise of a host. When they stood, and they let down their wings. 25. And there was a voice from the front of them that was over their heads. And when they stood, and they let down their wings, and above the firmament that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of sapphire stone, and upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness and appearance of a man over above it. Now here go the description of this man. And I saw as the color of amber, at the appearance of fire round about within it, and from appearance of his loins even upward, and from the appearance of his loins even downward, I saw as the appearance of fire, and he had a brightness round about. So this man right here is fire. He's total fire, no flesh on him. And so you say, well, why? What'd you say?
This description in 27 of this person of fire, who is that?
That's Yahweh. So now you go to this him. He came down right here, and so to add to that, it's got to be expounded upon. So back to where I was at when in Enoch, chapter 71, it says, I'm trying to get there. So it's four angels with him that's toting his throne. And they have all these different understandings of who these four angels that's toting his throne is. So I'm going to show you who they are. It says in chapter 71 of Enoch, Enoch was taken up to where Yahweh was at, in the heavens of heaven. And then verse 12 says, and round about were seraphim, cherubim, Ophium, and these are they who sleep not, and guard the throne of his glory. So these seraphim and cherubim and all them, they guard the throne of the Most High throne. 13. And I saw angels who could not be counted, even thousands and thousands and tens of thousands times 10,000, encircling the throne. Now watch this. 14. And Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Enoch. That's the four that's toting his throne. And the holy angels who are above the heavens go in and out of this house. The rest of them can't go in there. Say 15. And they came forth from the house, and Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Enoch, and many of the holy angels without the number. And with them the head of days, with him, so he goes, the head of days is Yahweh. He's with these four angels. That's what we see right in Ezekiel. He gives you their name. And so look what he did in 17. And I fell on my face, and my whole body relaxed, and my spirit was transfigured. This is the same thing that happened to Abraham in Genesis 18. So keep going. 18. And I cried with a loud voice with the spirit of power, and blessed and glorified and extolled him. So he blessing and extolling the Most High, but these four angels there with him. That's always with him. So with that understanding, we go back to the Bible and go to Mount Sinai. Exodus.
Exodus, was that 24?
Was it
Exodus?
Yeah, so I'm in chapter 24. And so verse 1 says, and he said unto Moses, come up unto heaven, unto the Lord, thou and Aaron and Nebal, Abel, and the 70 elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off. Moses alone shall come near to the Lord, but they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him. And Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which the Lord hath said we will do. So you go down to 24 and 9. And they went up, Moses and Aaron and Nebal and Abiah and the 70 elders of Israel, and they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet, as it were, a paved work of sapphire stone. The same sapphire stone we just saw that the man that was made out of fire was standing on in Ezekiel. So it was angels with him there. So we see right here, we know they're here right here, because they're the ones told him the sapphire stone that he's on. And so
when it says,
so I'm going to read what it says. I'm going to read what it says. 24 and 10. And they saw God of Israel, and there was under his feet, as it were, a paved work of a sapphire stone, and as it were, the body of heaven in its clearness. So we see now there's more than one. Yahweh ain't the only one there, because if the sapphire stone there, those four angels are there that told me. And I showed you who they were. They're Gabriel, Michael, Raphael, and Enoch. But I want to expound on that.
Okay, so far, what I'm understanding is going back to the person that came down and walked with Adam and Eve in the cool of the day. Right. That's not Yahweh, because Yahweh is a consuming fire, and you're not going to walk and have small talk with him. Is that the way I'm understanding?
Right. I'm going to explain it right now. Please say borders. Put borders around now.
Before, I think it's 19.
Yeah. Well, see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look at chapter Exodus 19. We understand that this Yahweh is a consuming fire. No flesh can come near him, or there's no flesh on him. So when you understand in the beginning, it tells you that in the beginning was him, Yahweh, and the Word, Jesus. But in the beginning, we know from the Book of Enoch, he formed 7 angels from the fire, from him. He's a consuming fire, and from him he formed 7 angels of fire. These 7 angels do his bidding for him. They're able to deal with mankind because he's a consuming fire. If anybody comes close to him or near to him, flesh, he'll consume it. He'll reach out and burn it up because he can't deal with no flesh. So when he came down on Mount Sinai. So when he came down on Mount Sinai, we know that it's him because he says in verse 9, and the Lord said unto Moses, Lo, I come unto thee in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with thee and believe thee forever. And Moses told the words of the people unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go unto the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes, and be ready against the 3rd day. For the 3rd day the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. Now look what he's telling. Verse 12, and thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about, saying, Take heed to yourselves that ye go not up into the mount, or touch the borders of it. Whereas whosoever touches the mount shall be surely put to death. There shall not be a hand touch it, but he shall surely be stoned or shot through, whether he be beast or man, or he shall not live. When the trumpet sound is long, they shall come up to the mount. So we see that they can't come up the way yet, because he'll kill them, he'll consume them and kill them. So we go back to, when you understand that, you go back to Noah. When Noah walked with the person that Noah walking with, he ain't consumed him.
So that's not Yahweh.
It's not Yahweh.
Okay.
It's not Yahweh. He's a consuming fire. He made these 7 angels for that specific reason. Mm-hmm. So with that understanding, go to Genesis 18.
Mm-hmm.
You got it?
Yes.
Says, or 18. Says, and the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Matari, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. This Abraham. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. Right? So these 3 men is angels. They got flesh on them. So we know the man that in Ezekiel chapter 1, 26 and 27, he can't have no flesh on him. He's Yahweh. He's shaped like a man. He have a silhouette of a man, but no flesh can be on him. So then verse 2, and he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself toward the ground and said, My Lord, capital L. So one of these men right here is, but it's not Yahweh. You see that?
Right.
So now this is where the understanding come in. So Yahweh has he made these 7 angels in the beginning to do his bidding for him on the earth with mankind. Right? So he says, my Lord, when I showed you that he made these 7 angels out of fire, and the first one he made was Michael. He's over the 7. So let's go to Isaiah 43 and 10.
I have a question. Where can I read about the angels being created? Is that a part of the creation story?
No, it's in the book. Let me read 43 and 10, and I'll go there. So I showed you that Yahweh is a consuming fire, and he came down in Ezekiel chapter 1, and he came down on Mount Sinai, and no flesh can come near to him because he'll consume it. So he made these 7 angels to do his bidding for him. They're the eyes of the Lord that go to and fro over the whole earth. But the first one out of these 7 was Michael that he made.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in Isaiah 43 and 10. And I'm going to start at, and so he put Michael over Israel. That's why the person that's talking to the Israelites keeps saying that Israel is their inheritance. Is his inheritance. Because the Most High gave Israel unto him. He's over Israel. So verse 9, 43 and 10. 43 and 9, and I'm going to verse 10. It's my verse I'm going to. 9 says, let all the nations be gathered together, and let the people be assembled. Who among them can declare this, and show us former things? Let them bring forth their witnesses, that they may be justified, and let them hear, and say, it is true. Now here goes verse 10. It says, ye are my witnesses, talking about the Israelites, saith the Lord. It's the same Lord, capital L, that I just read in Genesis 18. And my servant, whom I have chosen, that ye may know, and believe me, and understand that I am he. Before me there was no God formed. Neither shall there be after me. So nobody formed Yahweh. Yahweh is the self-existing one. But right here, the person is proclaiming to you and telling you that he was the first one formed. The first one formed out of who? Out of the 7 angels that Enoch tell you about. So now let me show you these 7 angels. Enoch. I'm in the book of
Okay, I have a question just so I can keep following. So we have Yahweh, who is the God of everything, the consuming fire. And we cannot, or no one can walk with him in the cool of the day, so to speak. That's Yahweh, the consuming fire, right?
Right.
And then this person who is the God or the Lord over the nation of Israel is underneath God, and he is an angel.
Right. Well, I'm going to show you in the book of Enoch, chapter 20, the 7 angels that he formed. And just like I'm saying, this do not correspond with the New Testament, because John tells you that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God in the very beginning, but that's not so. So I'm in Enoch chapter 20. It says, and he says, and these are the names of the holy angels who watch: Uriel, Raphael, Rigel, Michael, Seraphel, Gabriel, and Remiel. These are the 7.
Mm-hmm. So that's not. We're not going to find that nowhere in the Bible.
No, you ain't gonna find that, because it's not going. They're trying to lead you to the New Testament. And so this is why the Book of Enoch is not in the Bible.
So in one sense, the Jesus the Christ they put him in place of these 7?
No, they put him the Most High. The Redeemer and the Messiah is two different people, two different entities. The Redeemer is the one who saves and the one who delivers. The Messiah is a king.
Okay.
The anointed one that through the laws, the statutes, and judgments that the Most High set in place when he created the nation of Israel, the king has to be anointed. That's what Messiah means, anointed, the anointed one.
Okay, so
the Redeemer is the person or the being that delivers them, that's over them, that control them.
Okay.
So an example is Daniel chapter 12. I'm just bouncing around because trying to get you to think like Hebrew somewhat. So when you understand that the Most High is a self-existent one, and he knows the beginning from the end, then he's not gonna make a mistake and tell you the wrong name or the person that's gonna deliver us in the last days. He knows exactly who's gonna deliver us. So chapter 12 of Daniel is corresponding with the Book of Enoch. Chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time, which ain't happened yet, shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even at the same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered. So delivered and Redeemer go hand in hand. Everyone that shall be found written in the book. So we see right here who the deliverer is. And we see right here in Enoch chapter 20, verse 1 shows you who the 7 angels are. Michael is one of them. And so he told you.
Can I get that chapter and verse again? Daniel
chapter 12, verse 1.
Thank you.
Can I point something out real quick?
Go ahead.
In Enoch chapter 20, where it talks about when the name's Michael, it says that Michael is set over the best part of mankind. So when compared to all the other angels, just that alone is specific. So when you understand what's going on in the Old Testament, you understand who the best part of mankind is. So that alone lets you know that what we just read in Daniel chapter 12, he's the prince. He's the one that redeems and saves, and because he's over the best part of mankind, which is Israel.
Right.
So is this who they're putting Jesus in the place of?
Well, you have a Messiah, which is if you got to go back and watch the video that I on the channel, and it tells you who David is. So when at the Council of Nicaea, when they concocted Jesus, they went back and they, like I said, typology, and they put him in the place of this. You got a Messiah and a Redeemer. And they went back and put him in these places where David was there, and they put him in the places where Michael was there.
Okay, so does the mighty angel Michael and David serve 2 different roles?
Right. David is the Messiah, the anointed one that's over the king that's over Israel, and Michael is the Redeemer, the deliverer.
Okay. All right.
It's 2 in 1. But I was trying to what you have to do is you got to go to the channel and watch that Messiah because this will sound like whack out to you if you don't understand that. And so what I'm trying to do is
I watched the video of the Messiah, and I understand that to be David.
Yeah, that's the anointed one. The Redeemer is not the anointed.
Okay, so the Messiah, his role to the nation of Israel is to what? Give them the law, statutes of the Redeemer?
Well, if you expound on that, we were just trying to figure out that did the Most High talk to Adam and Eve at the same time, and we found out that he didn't, because there's an order. You got what they've done by bringing the New Testament. They done marginalized that word Lord.
Okay.
Yahweh is Lord over these 7 angels. And then Michael is a second in command. He's Lord over these other 6 and over the angels and over mankind. So when you say Lord, you got to know who you're talking about. Then you got the man that's Lord over the woman.
Okay. Can you say that again? Can you say that order again, please?
So you got Yahweh, he's Lord over the 7 angels. Then you got this Michael that's Lord over the 6 angels and over the millions of angels and over mankind.
Okay, wait.
And so you have to go back. What we've gotten away from as Hebrew Israelites is that when we name our children, the name means everything. So when the Most High named those angels, the understanding of who they are and what they're capable of is in their name. So Michael's name means he who is like Yahweh. He has the ability to create, and he has the ability to form things, to create just like Yahweh. He's the first one that was formed. No other angel had these characteristics. So that's why you see in the Old Testament, the person that's talking keeps saying this over and over. He's trying to get you to see who he is. And so with that understanding, you go back to Mordecai and Joseph. When Joseph was in Egypt, why the Most High, with all the powers that he had, why would he not make Joseph the Pharaoh? He didn't. He made second in charge of the Pharaoh. That lets you know who's behind it, who's orchestrating it. It's Michael, because he's ruling from second position, second in command. Okay. So he brought Joseph to second in command.
He brought Joseph to the place.
And so he did the same thing with Mordecai. He did the same thing with Daniel. So that's how you identify who it is that we're dealing with.
So the person walking in the garden, I'm sorry, I keep going back to this. The person walking in the garden in the cool of the day with to communicate with Adam and Eve is Michael.
Right.
Because
all through the Old Testament.
Yahweh,
He's all through the Old Testament. It's why it's important to go to Genesis 18. When you go to Genesis 18, verse 1 through 3, that's why I went. That's why I go there. When I'm talking, because to get Abraham. In Genesis 18 says, and the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Matterhorn, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day, and he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. These men, they look like us. We created in their image. They're not created in our image. We created in their image, but they have flesh upon them. But the Most High, I showed you in Ezekiel chapter 1, has no flesh on him. He's a consuming fire. He has a silhouette of a man, but he has no flesh on him. So the Most High created these 7 angels with out of fire, but they have flesh upon them. And so right here, these are 3 men that came to Abraham, and verse 3, Abraham says, "My Lord." So one of these angels right here is the Lord that you're dealing with in the Old Testament.
Now that's okay. That is one of the examples of what they would say to us in seminary, that that is when Abraham said, "My Lord," what they would say to us is that is pointing toward Jesus.
Well, we see that's the purpose of this study. We see that ain't happening because if you fast forward, it's 3 showed up. If you go to Genesis 19, verse 1, the next chapter over, it says, "And there came 2 angels, Sodom at evening, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot seeing them rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself to the ground, his face toward the ground, and he said, 'Behold, my Lord,'" lowercase.
Yeah.
So 2 of them is not. One of them is in command. One of them in charge, and the other 2 is lowercase lords.
Right.
So we see that there's one of them is in charge. He's an angel, but he's in charge. Well, we know now from the Book of Enoch, 7 angels was created, and Michael was the first one created, and his name tells you who he is. And then we went to Daniel chapter 12, and it showed you who's going to deliver us.
Mhm.
And then all through the Old Testament, through the Tanakh, he keeps saying, "My inheritance. You are my inheritance." Well, nobody ain't gave Yahweh nothing. Yahweh can't receive no inheritance because ain't nobody to give him no inheritance. So when you put 1 and 2 together, you see that it's Michael.
Okay.
Yeah, Deuteronomy 32 and verse 7 through 9 tells us, it says, "Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee, when the Most High divided the nations, their inheritance." So that's what he just said, inheritance, right? When he separated the sons of Adam, he set bounds of the people according to the number of the children of generation. And here it is. "For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance." So
where are you reading?
Deuteronomy 32, verses 7 to 9.
Okay.
So it doesn't get any plainer than that. It tells you that the Lord inherited Jacob, which is Israel. And so it says in Enoch 20 that he's over the best part of mankind.
Mhm. But see, where the misleading comes in at is understanding when the Bible mentions Lord, understanding which one is it.
Right.
So I want to say what I have written down so I make sure I got it right. Yahweh is the consuming fire, Lord over everything.
Right.
Creation, everything, right?
Yeah, self-existing one.
The self-existing one, all right? The self-existing one who is made out of fire created 7 angels to do his bidding in the earth realm.
Right.
But one of those 7 is the Lord of hosts.
Right. That's the first one. The first one he formed. The first one he formed.
The first one he formed is the Lord of hosts, and his name is Michael.
Right.
And Michael is over the other 6 angels that are also made of fire, but they also have flesh so that they can deal in the earth realm.
Right. So that's what he done in the beginning, but that's been covered over. So look at Zechariah chapter 4 right quick, because everybody, Hebrews and Christians and Muslims alike, everybody reading over this. But you have
where are you?
Zechariah.
Where are you?
Zechariah chapter 4.
Zechariah 4.
You got it?
Yes. Zechariah 4.
Verse 10 says, "Who has despised the day of small things, for they shall rejoice and see the plummet in the hands of Zerubbabel with those 7." So why would you have that in there? They are the eyes of the Lord, which run to and fro over the whole earth. So what Zechariah 10 is telling you, these seven that Enoch telling you about, that was there in the beginning. Not the Word, not Jesus the Christ, but these 7 was there in the beginning. That's what he's telling you right here. They didn't just pop out of nowhere. The Book of Enoch tells you how they came about. So in the very beginning, they was there. And the first one that he formed was Michael A.
Mm-hmm. But you can understand how we could easily be confused, because to read this verse that you just read, and it talks about a 7, for myself, and I'm just speaking for me. When I read that back in the day until today,
right?
I just felt like there were things in the Bible that I would not understand until I went to heaven.
Right.
So I didn't, I didn't know what to relate with those 7 to. I had no reference point.
Right. Well, we got some. It's confusion. It's confusion been going on, but that was prophesied and told to us as Hebrew Israelites by Moses in Deuteronomy, that we was gonna be confused, and we was gonna be blinded for 2,500 years, and especially 400 years here in America. So I'm gonna give you an example of how the confusion came about. And so if you go to Enoch 21:4.
Can I check my order just one last? I just want to make sure I have this order in place, and then I will listen. Yahweh, the Lord, made a fire, made 7 angels. One of those angels is Lord over all the other 6, and he is also Lord over mankind, and he is over the Israelites, over the nation of Israel.
Well, he commands the nation. He commands all nations. That's why he's able. When you understand what's going on, he's the one that brought Cyrus on the scene. He brought Nebuchadnezzar on the scene. When Josiah was killed at Megiddo, the king of the East told Josiah, "Your Lord, not Yahweh, but your Lord sent me. You had nothing to do with this. He sent me to fight against Egypt, not against you." So
in the Bible, when we're reading in the Bible and we see all of the letters of the word Lord capitalized, who is that talking about?
He's talking about Michael L. But you have to understand order, and then you can rightly divide it when you understand how he set it in place. But I talk on my videos, and you're gonna hear me saying doing these classes about a wicked scribe, and so the Messianic and the Christian would assume I'm whacked out. But I'm going to give you an example of what I mean right here. If you go to Ezekiel chapter 21, Enoch 21. It's probably in a different place in your book of Enoch, but in my book of Enoch it says, I just showed you the order that he made Michael the first one. And Michael is over everything. He's the Lord of hosts. But in 21 of Enoch it says, and I proceeded to where these were where things were chaotic, and I saw there something horrible. I saw neither a heaven above nor a firmly founded earth, but a place of chaos, and it was horrible. And there I saw 7 stars of the heaven bound together in it, like a great mountain and burning with fire. Then I said, for what sin are they bound, and what account have they been cast into hither? this Enoch, he talking to this angel, Uriel, this one of the seven. But look what the wicked scribe did. Verse 4 says, then said Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me and was chief over them all. So is Uriel chief over them all? Hello?
No, it's Michael.
It's Michael is over there. Why would he say Uriel? Okay, when you go back to, I told you about my video, that Ham and Japheth is not Noah's son.
Thinking like a Hebrew.
And so Japheth is when you walk everything down line upon line, precept upon precept, you find out that Japheth is Cain's seed. The Most High told him to get a male and a female from all flesh, genitalia, and put them on the boat. So when they get out the boat, Japheth go to his where he's supposed to be at. Ham go where he's supposed to be, and Noah and his son Shem go where they're supposed to be. Well, as I showed you that Michael was there in the beginning when Abel and Cain came to make their offering. Michael, knowing who Cain was, refused his offering. Then when you come down to Ammon and Moab and Ammon, which are the two boys that came forth when Lot slept with his two daughters. They were abominable. And then Ishmael, the Lord, which is Michael, told Abraham to send Ishmael away. That's the Arabs. Well, they got a problem with Michael. Mm-hmm. So they going back and they taking his authority away. We've been ran out of the land of Israel. We've been cast out. They didn't came in contact with our records and with our books. So they don't want to deal with Michael. So they casting him out. They disobeyed his authority. Mm-hmm. They don't want to know who he is. So let me show you. I'm gonna read this again. Then I'm gonna show you in the Bible what I'm talking about. Enoch 21:4. It says, then said Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me and was chief over them all. That's a lie. So let's go to Daniel. Daniel chapter 10.
Okay, Daniel 10.
What the setting is that Gabriel, Daniel had prayed, and Gabriel showed up to give him understanding of the dream that he had. And so, verse 20. It says, then said he, know thou wherefore I come unto thee, and now I will return to fight with the prince of Persia. And when I have gone forth, lo, the prince of Greece shall come. This is the verse I'm getting to, 21. But I will show thee that which is noted in the scriptures of truth. So what is the scriptures of truth? That's the book of life. That's the book of remembrance. That's the Old Testament. Mm-hmm. That's the reason why these angels are able to prophesy to them. They're looking at this book that's in heaven. They're telling them what's getting ready to happen. Mm-hmm. And so, but it's only certain angels that can do that. They can read the book. 20, I'm going to read it again. But I will show thee that which is noted in the scriptures of truth. And there is none that holdeth with me in these things but Michael, your prince. So who are the angels that can look upon this book? Gabriel and Michael. So you tell me, how is Uriel in charge? He not. So the person that did this, they got a problem with Michael. They got a problem with the Most High order. They don't want Michael to be, or they denigrated him. Because he's the one that's controlling the nations. He's the one that's controlling the narrative. So they don't want you. They don't want to deal with him. That's another reason why I'm showing you how the New Testament came about. Mm-hmm. They denigrated him. That's what in Hebrew. That's what that means when to pierce. To pierce means to denigrate, to take away one's authority. So With that understanding, let's go right quick to Zechariah again, and let's read that. Not somebody pierced on the cross or punched in the side with a spear by a Roman soldier. So I'm in Zechariah chapter 12, verse 10. Remember what I just said. You got it? I will pour upon the house of David. David is the Messiah, and Michael is the Redeemer. And upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the spirit of grace and supplication, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. So who they pierced? Michael, right?
Michael.
No, and they shall mourn for him. Who is him? David.
Michael.
David is the Messiah. David is the Messiah. Michael is the deliverer. Michael is the one that's been controlling the narrative all the way through the Old Testament. He got Samuel he got Samuel to go and anoint David, the Messiah, in 1 Samuel 16:1. Let's read it. 1 Samuel 16:1. You got to keep the other page. So he said, and the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have ejected him from reign over Israel? Fill thine horn with oil. That's what anointed means, oil. And go, and I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite. This is what he said. For I, the Lord, Michael, I have provided me, not Israel, I have provided me a king among his sons.
Oh, okay.
So he chose. So this angel, that's second in charge, Michael, he chose David, which lets you know David was written in the book of life long before he came on the scene. They already knew he was coming. So let's go back to Zechariah chapter 12 and 10. I'm gonna read it again. I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplication, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. They denigrated Michael, took him out of the scriptures, and downplayed his role. And so he says, whom they pierced, and they shall mourn for him. Who was it him? The Messiah that he chose.
Okay, what you just read was what? Zechariah?
Huh?
Did you just read out of Zechariah about piercing?
Yeah, 12 and 10.
12 and 10, okay.
And they shall mourn for him as one mourning for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one that is bitterness for his firstborn. So you probably saying, how did I come up with the fact that it's David? Well, 11 through 14 explains it. Verse 11 says, in that day shall there be a mourning in Jerusalem as a mourning of Hadamam in the valley of Megiddo. So what happened in the valley of Megiddo is when Josiah was killed. And Josiah, everybody mourned over Josiah because he was a righteous king. They mourned for him. But he says in the last days, when they see David, it's gonna be a greater mourning than that. So 12. And the land shall mourn every family apart, the family of the house of David. They go David again, apart, and their wives apart. The family of the house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart. So let's look at that. Nathan dead, but Nathan was the prophet in place when David lived.
Right.
So we see who it is now. Then we go to 13. The family of the house of Levi apart, and their wives apart. And Shimei. Who is this dude, Shimei? This the guy that cursed David.
Right.
He did. He was throwing rocks at David when Absalom came into Jerusalem and ran David out. And David had to cross the Jordan. David had to cross the Jordan to escape from Absalom, where Shimei was standing up on the cliff throwing rocks at David and cursed him.
Right.
So you say, what are you talking about? Well, Ezekiel 37, let's go there.
Okay. Ezekiel 37. That's the dry bones, ain't it?
Right. And so Ezekiel 37 been misdiagnosed 1,000 times. So I'm going to read it, just a couple of verses. The hand of the Lord was upon me, and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord, and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones, and caused me to pass them round about. And behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord, thou knowest. And he said unto me, This Lord is Michael. Again he said unto me, Prophesy unto these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Thus said the Lord God unto these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter in you, and ye shall live. So they made this out to be symbology. When you get the proper understanding, it's literal. And he's telling this to Ezekiel for us to read it now to understand what he means. Verse 6, and I will lay sinew upon you. I will bring up flesh upon you, cover you with skin, and put breath into you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and I prophesied, and there was a noise, and behold, a shaking. Bone came together, bone to his bone. It went back where it came from. And when I beheld, lo, sinew and the flesh came upon them, and the skin covered them from above, but there was no breath in them. So they laying there, all these people, bone went back to his bone, they got the flesh, but there's no breath in them. Same situation that Adam was in when he formed him. Adam laid there, but was no breath in him. 9, then said he unto me, Prophesy unto the wind. Prophesy, son of man, say to the wind, Thus saith the Lord God, Come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain that they may live. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and breath came unto them, and they lived, and stood upon their feet, and exceedingly great honor. This is the verse I'm trying to get to. Then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones is the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say our bones are dried, and our hope is lost. We are cut off from our parts. So the Lord of hosts is telling Ezekiel right here, is showing him he's going to raise up the whole house of Israel out of their graves. And they're going to stand upon their feet. This is the resurrection.
Literally.
You say, what are you talking about? 12. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, O my people, I will open up your graves, cause you to come up out of your graves, and bring you to the land of Israel. So we're going to pause right there. Why do we need Yahushua or Yahushua or Jesus the Christ? He already told them he's going to raise them out of their grave. He's going to do it. So you say, what do you mean he's going to do it? 13 and 14. And ye shall know that I am the Lord, the same Lord as in Genesis 18. When I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves, and shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall place you in your own land, then shall ye know that I am the Lord. I have spoken it and performed it, saith the Lord. Not Yahushua or Yahushua.
Michael,
the Lord. This is what they have done right here. This is what the wicked scribes have done.
Let me read something to you to add validation to Ezekiel 37. And this is something that nobody talks about. It's something that's looked over, and I've never heard anybody mention this, period. So in the book of Jasher, Jasher chapter 80 is talking about when Moses took the children out of Egypt. And so the last two verses in chapter 80 says something very interesting. It says, And Moses hastened and rose up and went to the river of Egypt and brought up from thence the coffin of Joseph and took it with him. But the next verse gets even more interesting. The children of Israel also brought up each man his father's coffin with him and each man the coffin of his tribe. So
Wow.
they gave us the story of Exodus, and they got all these movies, and then they told this story hundreds of times, but they never mentioned this. So you got millions of people or thousands of people, whichever the number is, walking in the wilderness, running from the Egyptians, journeying for 40 years before they get into the land of Israel, with coffins with them.
Wow.
All, each man their house. So let's just say, according to what I learned in Christianity, it was about 1 million people without women and children. So let's just say 1.5 million people walking in the wilderness with coffins of their forefathers that had been there for 200 and something years, 430 years. They've been in Egypt, of dead people, dead men, I should say. Let me preference that. Dead men that they're taken in the wilderness, walking with him. So just picture that in your head. This is something that they left out of the story. So why are they? The question is, why? What is the reason for them digging up these coffins and taking it with them? And then you find out when you go to, or here in the book of Jasher, when you go to Jasher chapter 90, here's what they did with the coffins. So Jasher chapter 90, starting at verse 39, it says, "And these are the names of the city wherein they buried the 12 sons of Jacob, whom the children of Israel had brought up from Egypt. And they buried Reuben and Gad on the side of Jordan in Ramah, which Moses had given to them." You can go ahead and read the rest of these, but the point I wanted to bring up was the coffins that they brought up from Egypt, they buried them in Israel. All of these people. So leading all the way up to, like Leonard is saying, to 37, these are literal graves. It can't be metaphor. There's nothing in the Old Testament that's metaphoric.
Right. Right. In a second, another witness to that is in Nehemiah chapter 2, when Nehemiah is requested from the king that he go back to Jerusalem. This one is like a beginning to get ready to be delivered from Babylon, and you would think that it would be something else more important to Nehemiah than what he's going to request. So I'm going to start reading chapter 2, verse 1. "And it came to pass in the month of Nisan, in the 20th year of Aarus, the king, that wine was before him. And I took up wine and gave it unto the king. Now I had not been before time sad in his presence. Wherefore the king said unto me, Why is thy countenance sad, seeing thou art not sick? This is nothing else but sorrow of heart. Then I was very sore afraid. And he said, and said unto the king, Let the king live forever. Why should not my countenance be sad when the city, Jerusalem, the place of my father's sepulchres, these graves, lie waste, and the gates thereof are consumed with fire? Then he says, then the king said unto me, For what doest thou make request? So I prayed to the God of heaven. And I said unto the king, If it please the king, and if thy servants have found favor in thy sight, that thou wouldest send me unto Judah and unto the city of my father's sepulchres, that I may build it. So they maintain these graves, these same graves that Michael is talking about in Ezekiel 37. That's their number one priority, is to maintain these graves. So they already knew that they were going to get resurrected. They knew that. They ain't some big secret or for the future, for somebody to come and say they got to die for them. They already knew this.
Now, where is the scripture where Joseph requests that his bones be taken back?
That's in Genesis. But yeah, so he's looking for that right now. But I got another witness, and that's in Daniel chapter 12.
Mm-hmm.
So he says in Daniel chapter 12, verse 9, and he said, he told Daniel, go thy way, Daniel, for words are closed up until and sealed to the time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. And from the time that the daily sacrifice be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. Blessed is he that waiteth, and cometh to the 1,305 and 30 days. Now here go the verse I'm talking about. But go thy way till the end be, for thou shalt sleep. You're going to die, for thou shalt rest, and stand in thy lot at the end of days. So whatever tribe is wrong, he's going to stand back up in the last days. So that justifies to you what Ezekiel 37 just said, that they're going to stand upon their feet. There it is. So we don't need what we need the New Testament for. We don't need it because we see right here that this is with the proper understanding it's a contradiction.
Yeah. I mean, this really these verses that you guys have brought forth from both the Old Testament and these other books that you have, Jasher. I need to get the book of Jasher. It everything, it just falls in place. And then for many, many years, like you said earlier, that passage in Ezekiel chapter 37 was told to me that it is metaphoric. For example, it is, it represents those people that are walking around that have not given their life to Jesus. They're gonna, and when they finally submit to Jesus, then they won't be looked upon anymore as dry bones. They will be able to live. But I just want to declare today, I'm feeling something over here that is a lie, and these scriptures are opening up to me. This just amazing. It's amazing.
I found the two scriptures. The first one is Genesis chapter 50, verse 24 to 26.
Okay.
I'm going to read it real quick. It says, and Joseph said unto his brethren, I die, and God will surely visit you, and bring you out of this land unto the land which he swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Joseph took an oath of the children of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from hence. So Joseph died, being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt. Now watch, here's the other one. So Exodus chapter 13, verses 19. This is where Moses did what we just read in the book of Jasher. It says, and Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had strictly sworn the children of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones away hence with you. So Joseph command, they swore by it, they put him in a coffin. Moses took the coffin, and they went out of Egypt into the wilderness, and eventually they ended up in the promised land where they buried all of their forefathers. However many men there was for those 400 years, 430 years that they lived in Egypt, that's how many coffins went up out of there.
Right. So I want, since we already...
They ain't say nothing about that. They ain't say nothing about that in the...
Right. Well, they can't. They can't because they downplaying. They building up the New Testament, and they downplaying what the order that the Most High has in place. So since we there, I want to expound on this a little further for anybody that's listening or whatever. So if you go to Daniel, this is going to shed light on what was said in Daniel chapter 7, verses 15 through 18, in reference to the end of the days and where we at now and the four beasts. So verse 15 says, I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the vision of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of these things. These great beasts, which are four, are 4 kings which shall arise out of the earth. So 4 kings, we're in the 4th beast now, at the end of it. 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even and forever. So who are saints? You have to ask yourself, who are saints? Saints are people that live, that died.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what a saint is. So we understand that he tells us that in the book of Jude that they saw Michael, the Lord, right? Let me read it.
Which book is this?
Jude. You know, but it's
The
Jude.
New Testament, Jude.
But they got it stuck over in Jude. They got it stuck over in the New Testament. But I'm gonna read what it says. But I'm gonna show you why they got it stuck over there. It says,
$14.
huh?
14.
It says, and Enoch. See what they're doing? They're bringing up the book of Enoch. And Enoch also, the servant from Adam, prophesied these saying, behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000 of his saints. See, up to this point, you're thinking these angels. But they're not angels. See that? Huh? Now watch this. Now watch this. So let's go to the book of Enoch. And you'll see where it was said at. In the book of Enoch 49, chapter 49. Chapter 49, I'm going to start at verse 8. 7, he says, and he shall judge the secret things, and none shall be able to utter a lying word before him. For he is the elect one before the Lord of spirits, according to his good pleasure. And in those days a change shall take place for the holy and elect, and the light of days and it shall abide upon them. The glory and honor shall turn to the holy ones in the days of affliction, of which evil shall have been treasured up against them, and the righteous shall be victorious in the name of the Lord of spirits. So we see right here that they're going to be changed. And that's what Ezekiel 37 is telling you. He's going to raise them up out of the ground, but when he raises them up, they're going to be like the angels are.
Yeah, in Enoch chapter 1, verse 15 through 17, has the exact words that we just read in Jude. 1 and 15 says, and behold, he cometh with 10,000 of his holy ones. And like he said, they got us thinking that these are angels.
Right.
To execute judgment upon all and to destroy all the ungodly and to convict all flesh.
Right.
Of all the works of their ungodliness which they have ungodly committed, and of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. That's the quote that Jude just said it out of his mouth.
Right.
So we're seeing that they took the Old Testament, which includes Enoch, Jubilee, Jasher, and they spun it and they put it in the New Testament.
Right.
And made it, because we were ignorant to what was going on.
Right. Tied to Jesus.
And they tied it all to Jesus and the New Testament, but it has nothing to do with that. Because Enoch is telling you that
saints.
The saints is the people that's dead.
Right. That he bring up out of his grave in Ezekiel 37. See?
So you guys are saying that the 10,000 that's coming with
tens of thousands.
The tens of thousands are the whole house of Israel. Is that what you're saying?
Right. They kept the law.
The righteous ones.
The righteous ones that kept the law. I don't know where you can be righteous is to keep the law. So understanding is we just read. We just at the beginning of this lesson we saw that Enoch is the righteous one. Well, how can Enoch be righteous without the law? So the law was always there. They got you saying I wasn't there, but the law was there. The law was in place in the garden. What righteousness is keeping the law. There's no other definition.
Say that again.
Righteousness is keeping the law. You can't be righteous without keeping the law. So if there ain't no law there, how can you be righteous? How can you be righteous when there wasn't no law there? The law was there. How can righteous Abel be righteous and there ain't no law there? The law was there in the beginning. Like I was saying, when he put Adam in the garden, the man who he formed and put in the garden by himself, he gave him laws to keep the garden. The woman wasn't there. Then when he formed the woman and made her, and then brought her to Adam, Adam gave her the laws that the Most High gave him. That's the order of things.
Okay, when I hear the word laws, what I think about is, and I'm sorry that I don't know where this scripture is found, but there is a scripture when Jesus says, I did not come to maybe abolish the law, but I came to fulfill the law.
Right, that's Matthew.
Okay, so I'm still stuck on that question of trying to understand why all of this deception, why, and I know that it's wickedness, it's Lucifer or Satan wanting to usurp his authority over what Yahweh have in place with Michael. Am I thinking correct?
Right. But it's like I was saying, you're going to hear me say over and over again about this wicked scribe because of what they did with the New Testament was they just wrote it. And they got you going by it, but it was written. We see that the Tanakh, the Old Testament, is the mouth of God that was given to the prophets, and they quote that. But the New Testament was just written. So he said, what you just read was that he said that he was he didn't come to do away with the law, right?
Right. He said he did not. He did. I'm sorry that I don't.
Everybody understand. Everybody, all Christians, what you just said. So he said that he didn't come to do away with the law. So it's a wicked scribe that wrote that. And that same wicked scribe came back and said that the law was nailed on the cross.
Right. So all the way around.
Huh?
Okay. I guess I'm, understanding Ezekiel 37, understanding who we are, and that our hope lies in the whole resurrection of Ezekiel 37. That the Lord of hosts is coming back, that the Lord of hosts is going to resurrect us, that the Lord of hosts is going to breathe into us. So the deceivers, and you guys can help me, so the deceivers had to know who Michael was or who we were or who we are in order to write us out and have us to be doing things that go against the law.
Right. He said that we see now that as long as we keep the law and all that, the man he formed in the beginning was the question that you asked last class was he's in charge of the planet. And so how did we lose that status? We disobeyed the Most High. And when we disobeyed the Most High, he brought these people in, this wicked seed that nobody seems to know about, that came about and hoodwinked the scriptures. And it caused us to be blind. And not understand who we are and how everything goes. But the Most High told us, prophesied to us through Isaiah 44, 1 through 5, that he was going to come in the latter days and pour his spirit back out on us, and we was going to recall who we were. And we was going to go back to the Tanakh, which is the Old Testament, the Holy Scriptures, written in Hebrew, and start figuring this thing out. That's what we're witnessing right now.
Yeah, and one of the things, too, that we don't understand, he said in Deuteronomy 28 that he was going to give us over to the heathen. And what we don't understand, because, we're not taught this stuff, we don't understand what heathen means. Right. And so when you understand what was going on during the times of our forefathers, the heathens lived separately from us. But the heathens have always done certain things. That's what makes them heathens.
Right.
And so he's given us over to the heathens. So when you look at all of these countries today, and you look at the weather manipulation, you look at all these crazy technologies that they come out with that makes no sense. You know, they messing with stuff that don't need to be messed with, and, you know, witchcraft and magic and, you know, sorcery and all this stuff. And we don't see it as sorcery, some of the things that they create, but that's what they've always done. And so what we're witnessing here in America and all over the world, and we're saying, man, you know, why are these people shooting us in the streets? Why are these people messing with this? And they want to go to the moon, and they want to do, you know, have GMO foods and messing with the animals. And they've been doing that type of stuff. That's what makes them heathen. We just didn't understand because we've been destroyed as a people. He left us. So he gave us over to them, and some of us have become just like them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And the whole reason why he gave us over to them is because we started wanting to do what they do over and against what his law said. That's the whole. Is that the whole kind of understanding of why we as a holy nation that is going to be resurrected in the end, the reason why we are in the condition that we're in and we don't know who we're being awakened to who our deliverer and our Messiah is because we disobeyed, and the Lord of hosts has allowed us to go through this. Is that the understanding?
Right. Well, he done it. He was behind it. He said that just as I Deuteronomy. He said just as I watched over you to make you great, I'm gonna watch over you to cause you to be diminished. So he's behind it. And so where we at right now is that he made a promise to our forefathers and to us that he was going to return and pour his spirit out on us. That's what we're witnessing now. Isaiah 44, 1 through 5.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we do. And so that's what's going on right now. Nobody seems to know what it's about. They think that this just some phenomenon that just popped up out of nowhere. No, it's prophesied in the scriptures that he was going to come and pour his spirit out on thy seed. And they was going to start waking up. One by one. Let's read it.
Mm-hmm.
Says,
it's amazing.
That's Isaiah 44, 1 through 5 says, "Yet now hear, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel whom I have chosen. Thus saith the Lord that made thee, and formed thee from the womb, which shall help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jezreel whom I have chosen, for I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessings upon thine offspring, and they shall spring up." We're witnessing that right now. As among the grass, as willows by the water course. One shall say, I am the Lord, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, and another shall subscribe with his hand unto the Lord, and surname himself by the name of Israel. That's all over the internet.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that's all about.
Read verse 6 now.
Huh?
Well, what about verse 6?
Well, verse 6 is a witness to who our Godhead is. Because it says, thus says the Lord, the King of Israel, and his Redeemer. And so we see his two beings right there. His Redeemer, the Lord of hosts. Tell you who the Redeemer is.
Right.
So the Lord of hosts is not Yahweh. Yahweh is the King.
And you guys had mentioned something earlier. You had read a scripture that had something to do with the firstborn. Am I thinking correct to say that Michael was the firstborn of Yahweh, not Jesus Christ.
Right. Yahweh, Michael was that's 43:10, Isaiah. He's constantly proclaiming through the scriptures who he is. And he telling you in Isaiah 43:10 that he was the first one created. Let me read it. He says, ye are my witnesses, talking to the Israelites, said the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen, that ye may know and believe me and understand that I am he. Before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. So how you break that down is nobody formed Yahweh. Yahweh is a self-existing one. Nobody formed him. So who is this that's talking? We see it's Michael. It's none other than Michael, because he said, I was the first one formed.
And so another scripture to back that up perfectly is Exodus 23, and starting at verse 20. And so once you understand everything that's been explained, when you read 20 to 25, and I'm going to read it, it clearly shows you that it's been angels from the beginning. And everything that goes on in the Old Testament that our forefathers have been dealing with have been angels. So Exodus chapter 23, verse 20 to 25, it says, behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way, and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, obey his voice. So he's going to be talking, obey him. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions. What is transgression? Sin. So this angel has the ability to deal with sin. For my name is in him. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak. So you got to obey his voice, but you got to do all that this person that's talking is speaking. Then I will be an enemy unto thy enemies, and an adversary unto thy adversaries. Here it is again. For my angel shall go before thee and bring thee in unto the Amorites, and to the Hittites, and to the Perizzites, and to the Canaanites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do any of their works. So when we understand that JC is an idol, and he's the God of the Bible, then you got to throw him away, because he's a God that you bowing down to. So it says, but thou shalt utterly overthrow them and quite break down their images. And here's the verse that I wanted to really get to. And ye shall serve the Lord your God. So we read over that without realizing what that's actually saying. If you're speaking from an English context, you would say, and you shall serve the Lord who is your God. And he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. So that right there just tells us that it's an angel the whole time. It's been angels that we're dealing with. He told you to obey the angels, because the angels will not pardon your transgression if you do them. He's going to deal with them.
Right. So it's an angel in there. He just read where it said, he said, obey this angel. He sent an angel before them. Well, when you get to the curses, 28 and 15, then you see what's going on. It says, 28 and 15 says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice, there it is, the voice of the Lord thy God. Well, he just told you that it was an angel that's over them. Observe and do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon you. So it's an angel that they listening to. They listen to his voice. He just commanded Yahweh on Mount Sinai. What he just read, the setting was, Yahweh came down on Mount Sinai and told Moses, I send my angel before you to keep you in the way. Obey his voice. So then when you come to Deuteronomy 28 and 15, the curses, he says, it shall come to pass if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. So we see the Lord thy God is his angel. Lord host.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Now, how does the understanding of Michael being an angel help us to know that there's something that there? How does understanding that Michael, the Lord of Hosts, is an angel, how does that help us to understand that there was and is something definitely wrong with this Jesus person? Is Jesus not an angel?
Well, the problem coming in is that in Genesis chapter 6, angels came down and slept with women. And you got Most High said they're evil spirits. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He says that, let me read it. He says that they're evil spirits. They shall be evil spirits upon the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The evil spirits upon the earth. So because there was a mutation. So when Jesus, don't they tell you all through the New Testament that he's the man Jesus? Then they say the man God?
Yeah.
So there's no difference in what came about in Genesis chapter 6 when the angels came and what he is. And the Most High said that when those giants was the result of that, and when they died, they was evil spirits came forth from their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
How can you have a man right here that's half divine and half human, but he good? But the Most High said that in Genesis chapter 6, they were giants and they was wicked.
And so that's the Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit, whichever one you want to call it, is an angel.
Right.
So if that's the case, if an angel slept with Mary and had a baby, then we got a problem, because he cursed the angels in Genesis chapter 6, and he said that was an abomination for what they did. And when you go into the Book of Enoch, it said we gotta make an oath among them ourselves, because we know that what we're about to do is a great sin. So they knew that it was wickedness that they was about to do, and they got punished for it. So then he turns around, this righteous God, this holy God that we supposed to serve, and do the exact same thing that he punished the angels for.
Okay.
That's madness.
Right. Yeah, we got to close. We're gonna have to close out about this time. We have almost at 2 hours.
Yeah, we're gonna end the recording.
Pick up from here on Wednesday right here. So
okay.
We're gonna end the recording, but you can stay online. Then we can just talk.
All right. So it's been fun. We're gonna end the recording, and once again, we're gonna meet again on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for joining us.
Shalom.
Shalom.